This week on Reliving the Extreme, we are discussing House Party 1996, the event that took place at the ECW Arena January 5th, 1996. Nate Maxon, your host here, along with my brother Aaron.
Hello, everybody.
And Mr. Chad Austin.
Yeah, if I would have known this show was going to be so long, I would have crashed that house party. Jesus, what's up, guys?
Yeah, it's like one of those modern WrestleManias. It's like, when is this ever gonna fucking end?
Can you imagine how long it was in real time?
Yeah, because some of these matches were cut up. Yeah.
If you were actually working the show, you know, just imagine being whatever the main Public Enemy. What time do you think they went out there? Had to have been well after midnight, right?
Well, I was gonna ask you, what time did an ECW Arena show usually start? What, 8?
Like 7:30.
Okay, so yeah, by the time Public Enemy got out there, it was probably close to midnight.
It had to have
been. Like you said, they clip matches. I'm sure there was an intermission to sell shit.
Of course, and you know they're not going to just rush match out after match out. It was going to be, especially if there was plundering and they had to clean shit up. They had to it was probably 5-7 minutes in between each match, probably at least. But my God, man, that's why I asked you, are we going to do this in one show or not? Because I'm glad I wasn't on it. Because I would imagine how long I would have had to. I probably would if I worked earlier in that show, I probably would just threw my hands in the air and said, Paul, you can just fucking mail me the check. I'm not sticking around for you to cut checks at this time of the night.
It's like Nate said, we're not gonna have to go blow for blow for the matches. And plus, how many notes can you have on like Hackmeyers versus Taz or Bubba versus Jimmy Del Rey? It's not like they were barn burners or anything.
I was going to say there are some significant things during this event that we will touch on as we go through it, but we open with Joey doing the intro. Bill Alfonso comes out, and this is good. This is good character development for Taz, because Joey starts to argue and fight with Fonzie, because Fonzie's, of course, being an overbearing asshole.
How great was Joey? How great was Joey here, then?
Oh, Joey was amazing, and Taz comes out and starts bullying Joey, and yeah, you're right. Joey was fantastic at being when he's just out there with Fonzie, he's got
no problems.
Yeah, but once Taz comes out, he's got ovaries, and it was perfect.
I thought it was great too, because I'm like, dude, Joey ain't scared of Fonzie. He's all like whipping him around and shit, bullying him, and all of a sudden they hit Taz's generic WWE music. Yeah, that was great stuff, man. Joey was really good there.
He was, and he was afraid of Taz, but it was also like he was trying to be logical with the guy. You know what I mean? Like I like you, we're friends. I just don't understand why you're doing what you're doing, and why are you associating with this fucking asshole? That type of thing. But I
would have loved to know what he was saying. It's probably exactly what he was saying.
It was just real. Everybody did a really good job. Taz even did a good job out there. I think they all did their job effectively, I think.
That's a hell of a way to open the show, right?
Yeah, and then the guy who seems to be, at least early on, the guy who seems to be the one that was going to be designated to get dropped on his head a bunch by Taz, El Puerto Ricano, comes out. I think this
Why?
is like
why would you go out there?
Yeah, you're right. This is like the second or third time we've watched El Puerto Ricano and Taz just eviscerates this guy. But you're right. Like, at this point, from a character standpoint, what a dumbass. Why would you even go out there?
Like, if it was like real life situation, and I was El Puerto Ricano and I knew I was supposed to go out next, I would have walked out through the curtain, saw that Taz was still out there, and just threw my hands in the air and was like, nah, I'm going back to the locker room, guys.
Or they should have done his character like they did with Piper and Johnny Rods. Be like, I'm not fighting this guy anymore. I'm on his side now.
Yeah, I'm his manager now.
I'm his manager now. I'm going to be with him.
Yeah, poor El Puerto Ricano. He's now El Puerto Ricano.
Del Puerto Ricano.
And then shocker, fucking hit the generic WWE music for 911.
Yes, 911 enters the ring. and then also do the Eliminators and Jason, and then Rey Mysterio.
I didn't even know how to write this all down. I didn't know it was a match.
Yeah, I actually didn't either because I put, this is kind of a mess, and then I put, oh, it becomes a match. Now I get it, I guess.
Yeah,
but yeah,
It was never like told you what the match was. What was the match supposed to be?
They had all those. They had all the underneath guys or whatever come out and pull Taz and 911 apart. You guys remember that, right?
Mm-hmm, yep.
Out of all the people that came out, that crowd turned on Bad Crew. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Like everybody was out there, and that crowd was just like, Bad Crew. Hey, Bad Crew sucks dick.
I wonder where I was that night.
Like all of this shit's happening, and that entire building was like, Bad Crew sucks dick.
I actually think I was there, but I think once I found out that I wasn't being used, that I don't think I even got dressed. I think I just stayed in my regular. I don't, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then after a while, because this show went so long, I probably left. I probably left early because I don't remember if I stayed there or I drove home at night or not. But God, imagine having to wait there after the show for your check. I just would have said, just mail it to me, dude.
That's what Paulie was hoping for.
Oh, of course. 911 coming out. I'm like, all right. Like, I didn't even know what to write down. I didn't know what it was. I didn't write down anybody versus anybody because it just bled into one thing. And then when Ray comes out and I see him go for a cover, I'm like, what's the match? Who is he covering? I mean, why?
As we figure out as it goes along, the match itself is 911 and Rey Mysterio versus the Eliminators.
We think.
I think.
Because that's what it turned into, right?
I don't know what was advertised, but this is what we got.
Which wasn't a bad thing, I don't think.
Now, I like the, it shows the, and we always talk about it, but it shows the mind of Paul Heyman about accentuating the positives and taking down the negatives. Putting Rey Mysterio with 911 is a great idea because Rey Mysterio can be in for, if you're going to have a 10-minute match, he can be in for 7 minutes of it and be exciting. And 911 can just be, or 911 can just be there to lay somebody out, and the ECW crowd likes 911 for as limited as he is. But
Ray would take the heat. Put the heat on Ray so he can hot tag fucking Al, and you know what I mean? And then boom, take it home from there. Don't let him do too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was just listening to Todd's book. I'm almost done with it, but he was talking. It's funny because he brought this up in the book. He said 911 started was doing the choke slam shit, obviously, but got on this kick about how he wanted to start wrestling, and they were like, "That's a bad idea," and he's like, "I want to wrestle," and he said the minute that guy wanted to start wrestling, it just the bloom was off. It was just like, all right.
Yeah, that's a true story. I was there for that. And then I remember Paul trying to convince him, just stick to what we got, brother. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he wanted to tell him, that no. There's no chance you're wrestling, because I think he eventually did. He does, I think, eventually. And I think he got exposed.
Yeah. And then, and then he winds up in WCW, jobbing to Lex Luger on Nitro. And that's pretty much it.
Dude, this was like everybody that didn't have a match, I think, was involved in this. Like, not a real match. They just kept running people out, and they just kept bleeding into one thing. One thing bled into another. And I just got confused. And like I said, I didn't even know what to write down.
By the end of it, I'm pretty sure Ray and 911 won what was supposed to be the tag team match, but then the Eliminators beat them up directly after the match, and then the Pit Bulls come out. So, like Chad said, it's a soup here. You have no idea what's going on.
It was a terrible finish too. That finish was so stupid.
I didn't even write it down.
Ray got on 911's shoulders, so Saturn got on Cronus's shoulders, and they were like doing like the chicken game or whatever.
Yeah, chicken fight. And Ray Huracan Rana'd Saturn off of Cronus's shoulders, jumping off of 911. It was so stupid. It's like, why would the Eliminators do that? I guess, right?
It was just a stupid fucking finish. Taz attacks 911 like 27 times. It's like, what the hell is going on?
It's every time fucking 911 we get back up onto its feet, Taz will just beat him up again.
Yeah.
And just
What
take him back out again. And that's when we start to see like the chink in 911's armor, you know? Because once you can get to him, you know, he can definitely get had. You just got to get to him. And Taz was the perfect guy to do it. It's a great visual. Big ass Al and tiny ass Taz standing there. So yeah, I thought it was great for what it was, but I just didn't know what it was supposed to be. I would have just loved to see the rundown sheet in the back, like, you know, how it was put on the door, like how the match rundown was going to be. I wonder what Paul would have wrote, just if he did anything.
Everybody does do something, and then like what? Imagine being the guys that gotta go after it and being like, well, they just did everything. So,
pretty much. Yeah, it was. Yeah, this was a doozy of a show, man. I can tell you that, man. The fans got their money's worth. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. The next matchup.
Nope,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, 911 and Ray Mysterio end up winning that match.
And the next match on the show, like I said, this event has some significant events during it, and it also has some significant debut here. The ECW debut of Rob Van Dam as he faces Axel Rotten.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised at this. I forgot this was on that show.
Well,
I may have not have been back yet, or I don't know where I was, or if I was, I don't remember being there. But yeah, I was like, oh, Rob Van Dam and Axel. All right.
Well, I was actually surprised too, because I don't know why, but in my mind, for some reason, I mean, not too much later, but I did guess I just forgot that RVD. I guess I thought he came into ECW later in '96. I guess I didn't know it was like didn't realize it was this early in the year that he.
Well, what was the date of the show? Was it
January
summertime?
5th. January 5th.
Oh, so we're early in the year then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, did Rob stick around then, or did he come in and go away again and come back?
No, I think he's pretty much in for the long haul at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
unless you remember differently than me, Aaron.
I don't think he went away. I mean, he might have. I don't want to say, like, he might have had more. He might have been spending more time in Japan maybe than he was in ECW.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for. Like, did he maybe still have some more Japanese commitments that he came in, you know, and probably went away for like maybe 2 months? You know what I mean? Was this could have been like his, you know, quote unquote tryout match kind of thing. And of course, when you see him in there with Axel, then it's just the same thing as put him out there with me. You know what I mean? But Axel would have had a better match with Rob probably than I would, for what they wanted Rob to do, because they would have just had Rob squash me. I thought they would have. I would have got like 2 spots in probably at the beginning, and then the rest of it would have been Rob doing his stuff. But Rob's got to fight from underneath sometimes too.
Yeah.
And Axel's a big dude, you know. He can do all the catching. I ain't catching that dude. not on that big ass ring to the floor. Damn, he would have squat. I would have never got back in the ring after that dive. Shit. Yeah, it was a solid RVD. Well, a way to bring the guy in, and you still had wasn't the crowd still chanting like "fuck him up, Axel"?
Yeah, they didn't like Rob when he first got there. Not even talking about like when he became a heel or whatever. Just he kind of had like a little bit of what Dreamer had early on, where they were like, "We don't like this guy."
Yeah, well, and he's got a little bit of that because he had gotten done doing the Robbie V thing in WCW, because he's still got a little bit of that stink on him.
Yeah. And this is probably like during the height of like the tape trading stuff. So he probably wasn't a big name out there around all the tape traders. I mean, I don't even remember if I knew who he was. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm sure I've probably heard of him, and I did have some stuff from Michigan that he was on when he first started, and I did have his Memphis. I still have his Memphis stuff. When he went to Memphis for that 2 weeks or whatever, how everybody goes for like a month in Memphis, and that he probably got his payoff and just disappeared too, like everybody else did.
But yeah, I could see like coming at he's Robbie V from WCW and this little good-looking guy or whatever, and they probably were like, yeah, fuck this guy. But Rob's the type of guy that after you see him a couple of times and he shows you what the fuck he can do, you can't not get behind that fucking guy.
Yeah, and then probably once Meltzer got a hold, people were reading Meltzer, and they found out he was a big weed smoker, and that legend grew, and, then they gave him way more of a chance then,
Yeah.
Probably. But it
Well,
was what it was. I mean, Axel did his job. He got his shit in, did what he was supposed to do. Like I said, Axel was a way better opponent for Rob at that time than if I would have been there and they would have booked Rob against me. Because he definitely would have probably squashed me. And he wasn't going to do them dives on me. There's no chance he would do it. I would have got back in the ring. He would have still been out on the floor, even though he dove on me. Because I wouldn't have called him. I would have accidentally pretended like my back hurt as he flew over top of me. Oh shit! I threw the catch him. I don't know what happened there, Rob. Sorry.
But yeah, RVD gets his first win in ECW over Axel Rotten, and then our next
getting into him then.
Yeah. Toward the end. Well, and like Aaron said, you watch that guy in the ring, and you get to a point where it's like, okay, I can't deny this guy's fucking.
Yeah. And that was probably, I don't know how many times he had really seriously wrestled in the States besides WCW, but you weren't going to see what he could do there in WCW with the bare feet and, and getting like 2.5 minute matches.
Yeah, 3-minute match on Worldwide or whatever.
Yeah, so he didn't get a whole lot of TV time in WCW.
I mean, did it even happen? If your match is on WCW syndicated TV, did it ever even happen?
Yeah.
It's like Robbie V versus Chick Donovan.
Oh boy. Bobby Starr. Yeah, I could see that happening. Imagine how many times he would have had to
no disrespect to Chick Donovan, but I think he was 56 by the time he got to WCW.
Well, I was gonna say it is funny during that Ole Anderson era of WCW when he was bringing in like a bunch of old timers and stuff. There's a match I cannot remember who he wrestles, but Chick Donovan wrestles somebody, and Tony Schiavone calls him youngster. This youngster, Chick Donovan. I was like, "Is that a rib? Are you kidding me?"
Oh, it was.
He was wrestling in like 74.
That's what I was gonna say. That's like when
Schiavone's
at the Royal Rumble 90, we're at the Royal Rumble 93 when Carlos Colon comes out and Gorilla Monsoon calls him a youngster in 1993.
Jesus.
But Schiavone, he's admitted that a lot of the stuff he said on WCW was him just making fun of it. Like they asked him why he said the Yeti, like why he say it like that, like why'd you say Yeti? He goes, because it was fucking stupid, and I wanted to let him know. But I couldn't just go, this is fucking stupid. So I'm just gonna be like, here comes the Yeti.
Yeah, Schiavone's classic. I could totally see him doing that because he knows that nobody's paying attention. Ain't nobody watching this. I can do whatever I want. That's how a lot of the guys were.
Yeah, or just Gordon Soley just be fucking drunk doing WCW Worldwide because who gives a shit?
Well, listen to some of them. I know we're getting off topic, but go back and watch some of them Coliseum videos or those matches from like fucking like the Philadelphia Spectrum and listen to the commentators on there. They're cracking all kinds of insider shit.
Oh, it gets even worse when Raven starts doing color as Scotty Flamingo or Johnny Polo or whatever it was.
Like that whenever Steve Lombardi was on, like working, they'd say he went to the
Terry
Garvin School of Self-Defense.
Yeah.
Learned all his attacks from the rear. Like shit like that. It's like, what is going on?
The Briscoe's Body Shop, they specialize in rear end work. That shit's classic.
The next match.
Sorry. My favorite one's when Pat in 99 or whatever, when Pat rips his shirt off like Hulk Hogan and Jim Ross, like, he's single, fellas.
Jeez, it was.
Well, the next match on this show is Too Cold Scorpio wrestling Mikey Whipwreck for the TV title. On the last show we watched, Mikey won the TV title. And that's about to change during this match. But this match is almost like, I wrote down here, not that it's bad, but they almost, other than the finish, they almost have the same match they had the last time when Mikey won the title.
Pretty much. I mean, at the beginning, after Scorp cut his promo, that's when Mikey kind of jumped him when they were like face to face. I mean, besides the last match where they actually had a match, this one started off like hotter with, Mikey kind of, initiating the fight.
Right.
To get the upper hand on him. Yeah. And, dude, I thought it was pretty much the same match, except the finish was different. Because Mikey ended up like going over. They did the same shit. Like Scorpio could have beat him like 100 times, and he kept pulling him up, and it bit him in the ass. And Joey Styles made sure to mention that during the match.
Yes, and that was the only difference. Like last time, they, like you said, that's what they did, was that bit Scorpio in the ass, and he lost the title. This time they pretty much did the same thing. But instead, at the end of the match, Raven comes out and gives Mikey a DDT, which gives Scorpio the win to win the title back. So, Aaron, did you have any notes on the match?
No, it's just like I said. I put in here. It's like Scorpio's making the same mistake again, and that dive Mikey did was pretty good. He almost like went on almost the third row. It's like I don't mind watching these guys wrestle each other, but they were like, oh, what we did last time? Let's just do that again.
That was a nice ref bump, though.
Yeah.
How when Mikey jumped off the top rope, or I think Scorp jumped off the top rope, and like I guess Mikey's arm flew up, or Scorp's, whoever did the dive, whoever was getting caught, his arm flew up and it hit the referee, and took him out because you almost didn't see it coming. But if you went back and watched it again, you could see the referee standing so close. He's standing right there. If I was a referee and I saw the guy going to the top rope, I wouldn't be like standing that close, you know what I'm saying? But at the spur of the moment, when the first time you see it, you didn't catch it. But yeah, the ref goes down, and it was like, all right, now let the shenanigans begin.
And shenanigans do begin. And again, we always ask the question, why does a ref bump matter in ECW? But anyway.
I know, right?
Look at that opening match. That opening match had every shenanigan, and the referee was upright the entire time and did nothing.
Because it wasn't a match.
That match had every shenanigan.
Imagine every shenanigan you could have.
That's what they should have had a gimmick in ECW. Shenanigan. he just runs out door in every melee. And ends up just getting beat up. So I just ends up just being in the middle of everybody beating him up. There it is. He's shenanigan. Yeah, it was a solid match, and that's going to be a word that I wrote down that I noticed it's going to be a common thread throughout this whole entire show. That it was solid, because you could tell by the way how long the show ran that they gave that match time too. They gave everybody time. Time did not matter. The ring crew had to be pissed off at that. And the people that had to clean that building up after that had to be pissed off when that show ended.
Later on, I have a comment on one of the matches as far as that goes, but I'll get to that when I get to that. But yeah, Mikey wins the TV title from Scorpio. Scorpio wins the TV title back from Mikey, is what I meant. And our next match is Taz versus Hack Myers, and this is serving the same purpose for RVD that the match with Axel served.
This is our, I think, our 47th appearance of Taz on this show.
Already? Yeah. Yeah. You knew what was going to happen, but it's glad that they sent Hack out first,
Mm-hmm.
That way, because the crowd didn't know who was going to work, because he'd already seen Taz, and he probably expected Taz in a higher profile match. So he'd send Taz out. I mean, he'd send Hack out to his normal fanfare of the Shaws, and everybody loved him. And then as soon as they played Taz's music, you just heard like Taz is going to kill you, and oh brother, you know what I mean? Like you knew poor Taz was in for a, and he doesn't even Joey Styles say it that like Hack was in for a long night or something. I think he says it before the match even starts. And this is definitely. I wonder how much before this match was when I worked Taz, because this is like it's still at the beginning of the new Taz character, right?
Yeah, we kind of saw the debut of it on the last TV episode we watched.
All right, so then I must have worked him the last probably that Friday night before that ECW house show. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, but Hack took a pretty good solid shellacking.
Yes, he did.
And 911 wasn't in this match, but it made him look like a bitch because he's just been attacked 67 times in his match by Taz, but he doesn't even come out to get any revenge. Like he was upright when the match ended.
Well, probably in theory, Paul was out there trying to control him, that Paul kept him in the back, you know. Didn't let him know Taz was out there. But, you know, they could have at least mentioned something like that. Like, where the hell is 911?
Yeah, somebody beat me up. Somebody beat me up 86 times in a row. I'd try to get my revenge.
Yeah. So, yeah, Paul was keeping him busy.
After the match, which Taz wins, obviously, with the Taz mission, he goes on a F-bomb laden promo, telling the crowd to fuck off and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, thank God it's Peacock. God damn, man. It was a lot of F-bombs on this show. I didn't even realize that until I watched it.
And they just let them rip.
Yeah, it was pretty much a squash. I mean, considering how over Hack is with them people. Hack got that whole spot where he throws the guy in, the guy takes the face bump, and then he comes back out and Hack hits him from behind when he backs back out of the buckle. That's a regular Hack spot. And then normally he would grab you while you're bent over and take you over to the ropes and climb to the top and jump down with the knees on like to the head. So you take a face bump. Well, Taz wasn't taking it. He wasn't getting that far. He wasn't getting a chance to put Taz, you know what I mean, in that position. But just watching Taz throw Hack around, it was great. Hack was a good hand, man.
Yep.
But it was pretty much a squash, except for that brief spot. And then when he ties him up, whatever that submission, whatever he got him in, I'm like, thank God that wasn't me either. Dude. I'm glad I wasn't on this show, thank God. I would have been Francine. I would have been 911. And then I would have got choked out by Taz probably on this show if I would have worked it.
The next
office for me.
The next thing we see on this show is the Dudleys headed to the ring en masse. Pretty much all the Dudleys headed to the ring. And then we see Jimmy Del Rey, who now has Mr. Hughes at his side.
The big cat.
Mr. Hughes is back. Mr. Hughes is back.
Cat.
Oh, I have a reason.
They have a reason. But it makes no sense that he was with Jimmy Del Rey. But
yeah, you're right. Like it's like, well, that's weird. But
the Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey.
And the big cat.
The match is the Gigolo versus the Giggler. It's Jim Red versus Bubba Dudley.
Now I know that I wasn't on this show or I wasn't there because I would have marked out for Jimmy Del Rey from when he was a jobber in like Florida and in Georgia and stuff. Because he's the guy that I stole my backdrop from. Like he would always take crazy bumps off of backdrops. And like I'd never see him like take the same, like especially a regular backdrop. Never saw him do it. He would always end up to the side. He'd flip some other kind of way, you know. He'd land different. And then I stole that from him because I did the same thing. Like I was like, I ain't taking a regular fucking backdrop, you know, especially at my size.
Mm-hmm.
Guys could like throw me really high and I knew how to post and everything. So yeah, I stole that whole backdrop spot from the Gigolo, but I didn't steal the Gigolo moniker though.
And they did him shitty in WCW too. Remember what they did with him?
I don't know, nothing.
They totally changed him and made him Jimmy Graffiti, and he was like a graffiti artist.
Oh, that's right. Because didn't he have like graffiti or like on his trunks?
Well, he had like almost like a Public Enemy type outfit, like big shirt, shorts. It's like they cut his hair and his beard. It's like, what the fuck? The whole good thing about him was that he was a sleazy scumball that thought he was the sexiest guy in the world. Like,
long red hair, gimmick. Mustache.
Yeah, and his fucking pubic chest hair. It's like, this guy's perfect. You're just gonna ruin him. You're gonna cover up all that gloriness.
All that gorgeousness. He's the Gigolo.
WCW, everybody. The Yeti.
I wonder how many girls he really did get. You know, I wonder what kind of girls he really did get. That even makes me wonder even more.
I was gonna say
what I've heard is all the girls he got wasn't willingly, but
oh, that's right, I forgot about that. Yeah, the date rape guy.
Yeah, a bunch of H bombs.
Jimmy H bomb Del Rey. I can't believe somebody run with that gimmick.
I heard a lot of people ran from that gimmick.
Yeah, he comes out and doing all his gigolo, walking to the ring, and all the women just back away from the ring rail.
They show him arriving at the arena in a panel van.
Yeah, and it's got a Playboy, like a window on the side. It's like a Playboy bunny. He opens the side, the side doors up, and it's all like fucking velvet. Inside of it.
This is the soundtrack.
Hot Blooded is playing from the.
I was just gonna say the soundtrack to Heavy Metal. He's got like the chick airbrushed on the side of the van.
And then you hear the click of the 8-track go to the next track halfway through the song.
It's just the Heavy Metal soundtrack.
Dude, poor Jimmy Del Rey's taking a beat.
Oh, he deserves it.
Yeah, you know how like you've never been there. Like if you get there earlier enough, there's enough people that are standing outside that they know where the boys park at. So they would like, you know, see you pulling in, and they would start walking over that way, try to get a picture or an autograph, whatever. Can you just imagine that van pulling up, and then you ain't even got to know, like, speculate. Oh, there's Jimmy Del Rey's van. It's all airbrushed on the side of it.
1 more minute to midnight.
Hot blooded. Dude, that'd be the fucking best, man.
got the fucking curtains on the inside of the van.
Fuck yeah, man. The back seat's already fucking turned into a bed. It's folded down already. There's porn on the TV.
So he gets out of the van. He's like, "Who's ready to get sticky?"
Yeah. He's coming out wearing his fucking gimmick.
That's his shirt. It's just this, the H bomb in the back of it. Who's ready to get sticky?
Damn, you could have had a whole other career in this business.
They say your gimmick should just be a little bit of your personality turned up.
Right. Well, this had to have been.
You're a panel van rapist. Deal with it. Go with it.
According to Meltzer.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, they really should have done something more with that fucking gimmick.
Imagine if he would have made it to WWE after that. He would have been like riding the van to the ring.
Yeah. As he showed the wrestlers pulling up in their cars. Here comes the big conversion van pulling in, the running boards.
Actual hot-blooded being played live.
Oh, Jimmy Del Rey's arriving to the building right now. And the reporters don't go over to the van and like say hi to him and get a word because they know he's going to be a while. Because he's in there putting on his wrestling trunks, lathering up, putting the baby oil on.
Oh, shit.
Waiting for the 8-track to skip back to the hot-blooded again. So he can come back after his ring music. Yeah, he's hot-blooded, all right.
Well, in this match, after Bubba defeats Del Rey with a DDT, which I think is the last time we're going to see Jimmy Del Rey in ECW.
It is.
Oh, it was definitely a favor, right?
Yeah, Mr. Hughes reveals why he's actually there. And he introduces the fact that, and I put this out, Mr. Hughes had to be here because in the grand scheme of ECW, Mr. Hughes is the guy that carries Shane Douglas's bags. Here comes Shane Douglas in his return to ECW after his failed run with the WWF as Dean Douglas. Denim Dan is back.
He's the smartest wrestler because
Yeah,
he kind of goofs on himself. So was he saying he was smart because he took the money, went to the WWE and took the money, and then waited for his time to run out just to come back?
Todd Gordon, like I said, as Audible in his book, he talks about like the only time he ever talked to J.J. Dillon was he called J.J. because he wanted to check on Shane, and there was something else, so he called him and he said, "Hey J.J., how's my boy Shane doing?" And J.J. was like, "You want him back?"
Really?
Yeah, he said, "You can have him."
How's my boy Shane doing?
And he was like, "You want him back?" Like
he probably said, "Shane O'Mac." Which Shane? Who are you talking about? Yeah, I could totally see that. Because I mean, he was not over with the crowd when he came back. Like,
yeah,
the crowd
it was very anticlimactic.
What's that?
Him coming back was very anticlimactic. Like,
yeah, it's like he had to get himself back over again, and he had to go back into the whole Shane. There's reason why I came back, whatever.
What he wanted was the Sabu pop, but he didn't get the Sabu pop.
No, he wasn't. There's no
because
chance.
Sabu didn't go to WWE. He didn't leave him for the WWF. You know what I mean? He went back to Japan, and he still did the heart. He was still Sabu. Like, Sabu didn't really sell out per se. Like, he just took a better pay, and it was known that he did that. Shane left and was like, "Fuck this place. I'm gonna go beat Dean Douglas." And it's like, now you're back, and
he had to get himself back over again.
Yeah, because when he left, he didn't think he'd be coming back.
Yeah.
He was hoping he wasn't coming back. Pretty much. He was probably hoping that after his WWE ran was over, he was going to end up going to WCW like everybody else. But after he wasn't there, 5 months, 6 months?
He was on the WWE. He debuted. Excuse me. He debuted in the WWF in August of '95, and he is gone by December. So you have 4 months.
Oh, geez, whiz. That with very little TV time. Basically, besides the vignettes.
Pretty much what he did on TV was Job to the Click. I mean, honestly, that's pretty much what he did.
And he shit on, and before he got there, were the promos entertaining and everything? Yeah, but he shit on everybody that was important in these other promotions before he got there. It even fucking backfired on him when he got to WCW in '99. People didn't want to fucking work with him. Like, Flair fucking hated him. Like, Shane was like, "Oh, I was just working." He's like, "No, you're a piece of shit."
Pretty much. And then his career was never any good anywhere else anyway. Like, nobody ever really pushed him anywhere.
Flair was like,
Dean Douglas, he didn't really get pushed in the ring.
I think Flair said, like, Shane's most successful run was at Target or some shit like that.
Yeah, being a manager. But that was all a shoot.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, once he he would shoot on these guys, and then once he got in, like, other than Sean, I think once he got in front of all of them, he was like, "Oh, I was just trying to drum up some business. I was just trying to get some heat." It's like, fuck you. It's not like I was that. It's not like Shawn Michaels or Ric Flair were ever going to go there and work anyway. So it's like, what the fuck?
Well, that, and also Shane Douglas's perception of what it meant for Shane Douglas to wrestle Ric Flair was completely opposite of what Ric Flair's perception of what it meant for Shane Douglas to wrestle Ric Flair.
Oh, yeah. That's like the CM Punk, like Hunter Hearst, Triple H gimmick. No, you need to work with me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, he's thinking like, oh yeah, man, me and Flair, we're gonna go out there, and Flair's probably like, you're fucking kidding me.
Yeah, like Flair said about him too. Like he said Shane told everybody that I torpedoed his career in WCW. And he's like I had time to worry about what the fuck was going on with Shane Douglas. He's like, they're trying to cut my hair, put an earring in my fucking ear, and call me Spartacus. You think I give a fuck what's going on with the dynamic dude? It's like he wasn't even on my fucking radar. Like, I had nothing to do with that piece of shit.
Plus Flair's
like
on the booking
Shane.
committee.
Yeah, and I like Shane. Like, I'm a fan of him, but he did himself no favors with that, in my opinion.
Well, he should have known that. I mean, Shane's not stupid. You know, you figure once he left ECW after all the shit that he said, that nothing was probably going to work out for him anywhere else because of all the heat that he had gotten, right? You figured he would have carried that around with him and knew that he was pretty much going to be doomed, you know, anywhere that he went. So he went to work for Target or Walmart. Reinvented himself. The greeter, Shane Douglas. He could have walked out checking ticket stubs with a flashlight.
This is like I said, this is Shane's return to ECW. He pretty much gives the franchises back, and like we said, wasn't as over with the crowd as he anticipated that it would. The next thing we have is a segment.
I also didn't like the fact that he smacked Bubba and 7 of the Dudleys just stood there and watched it.
Yeah. What were they going to do? Chubby's still eating. Sign guy had that big ass sheet with spray. You know what I mean? What were they going to do anyway? All the dumb Dudleys. They made fun of Bubba. You know? I mean, Bubba was still green at the time. So, well, you know, he basically went out there and just fucking jobbed them out by saying, you guys aren't going to do anything to me. You got like 5 guys out here, and you guys still ain't going to do anything to me. So, yeah, he pretty much jobbed them out. Poor Bubba.
Joey Styles now is in the ring with Stevie Richards and the Blue Meanie. This is one of those famous segments in ECW history.
I didn't remember this. Like, I didn't see this coming.
I didn't see it coming. I mean, once it got to it, I knew what it was, but also, to be perfectly honest with you, a lot of what Stevie Richards does, not Blue Meanie. I do like Blue Meanie, but a lot of what Stevie does has go away heat with me.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't remember that he was even really a part of this whole thing. But Aaron, unless you want to recap the interview, we'll get to the important part.
It was just Stevie talking about making out with Missy Hyatt, and now he's like a sex stud and all this. Like, I think he wanted to be named Studley Stevie Richards, and I actually like Stevie, but then he tries to kiss Beulah, but Beulah won't kiss him, and he's like, "Oh, what is it? Because you're Raven's girl?" And I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, right here is where I knew where the angle was going. Yeah. Like I said, I didn't remember the angle. Like I said, I must not have been there. I don't know. But right here is where I knew the angle was going, because I had the TV from getting TV from there. But I'm like, oh, this is the angle. This is it.
Plus, a lot of the footage they show, they clip out like him talking about making out with Missy and everything. Like, when they show the footage of it, it just moves into like, what, you won't kiss me because you're Raven's girl? Like, they cut out that first half of Stevie trying to get his shit over. You know
what's funny is I upstairs in the bedroom in the place I'm staying, one of the boxes that I walk by all the time, because I had all my DVDs sent over to me from Jess, and she pretty much put like all my DVDs like had to pick them off the shelves, and and I walk by and right there on the top of the boxes, one of the boxes that's open, it's all my ECW stuff. So I might have to pull that back out and see like what they really cut out of that, if they did anything more to it. Because it seemed like it did kind of went pretty quick. And I remember it being longer than that,
Well,
But this was what? This was the Beulah announcing the pregnancy gimmick.
Yes, and it's the way that this is done to me, I will say to this day, is one of the most perfect things ever in ECW history, because we've built this story with Raven, Tommy, and Beulah. Like Aaron said, Stevie's being a fucking creeper trying to get Beulah to sleep with him or kiss him, and she says I can't, and he says, why? You're Raven's, because you're Raven's girl, and she says, no, I'm pregnant. And then
crowd loved that. They didn't see that coming.
And then, in what is totally missing from pro wrestling today, Raven just shows up in the ring. If this was 2000, if this was 2023, Raven's music would have hit, and he would have come to the ring. But
His
no,
pyro
all of a sudden,
went off.
Yeah, Raven is in the ring, and he's pissed at her.
How fast did he hit the ring?
Oh, quick as shit! Like, it was perfect. Like, it's like, this is, and that's what I say. This is great because it's like you're living in the moment with these fucking people, you know. And
like, was Raven just theoretically saying if this was kind of real? Was Raven kind of like walking around in the back and just kind of like happened to catch it on the monitor? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or you could even go with the premise of, since these are his cronies or whatever, he's standing at the gorilla position or whatever you want to call it in ECW, watching his cronies out in the ring.
Yeah, and he didn't know that it was going to go awry like this.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't know this. I didn't know this was going like this. Fuck.
Good Lord.
Yeah, he was out there pretty goddamn quick.
And then it's also great.
He's like, oh shit, I don't want you to get fat again. Like,
Raven lambastes Beulah,
Stevie.
but then she says it's not yours, and then it's perfect. His initial thing is just to turn around and clock fucking Stevie.
Yeah,
and then she's like,
he hit Stevie as fast as he hit the ring. Like, he didn't even get a chance to sell it. You know, he just like, boom, he automatically just assumed that it was poor Stevie. And he just like started just wearing him out, you know, and then,
they should have had Meanie be like, what, nobody believes it could be mine?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know why Raven didn't do that too. Especially when he said it's not yours. Why didn't he go after Meanie? Because you know what I mean? Because apparently now that Raven's insinuating that she's a floozy, she'll sleep with anybody. But right about here is where I wrote down that I jinxed myself. Because I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm like, I don't know how long I'm into this show, and there's somebody that I haven't seen yet. And as soon as I wrote down, I just jinxed myself.
Yes,
here he
comes,
of
course,
Mr. Save the Day.
The big reveal is that the baby belongs to Tommy Dreamer. And here comes Tommy Dreamer to grace us with his presence.
Yes, the biggest heel in ECW, Tommy Dreamer.
Yep. Yeah, now he's fucking, because he's fucking Beulah. Yeah. Everybody wants to bang her. Raven's now assuming everybody's banging her. Everybody but Tommy. That was back in they had that heat back when they were in Camp Lejeune together.
Well, that's a good thing.
Dude, I literally wrote that down. I just jinxed myself. Tommy Dreamer run in. Because I had went back and looked at my other notes and saw what I had just seen. And I'm like, well, I don't know how long the show is. But I'm like, well, we haven't seen Tommy Dreamer, and I couldn't remember who he worked. So, I'm like, well, maybe there's no Dreamer on the show. Maybe he's running running the locker room or something. And then, bam, here he shows up in his leather jacket. That poor, I wonder how many cows that took to make that leather jacket. Jesus.
This guy's been beating this girl up for like 5 months, then he raw dogs her and knocks her up, ruins the relationship.
He's a heel.
He's a heel.
Yet the people love him.
He's a heel.
He's the real scumbag. What would have happened if the crowd would have realized that and turned on him? Like just not like got behind him and got behind Raven. Because Raven's the one that's been done wrong here.
Plus, he had to have known. He had to have
the crowd smartened up and got behind Raven.
He had to have known she was pregnant, or that he was banging her. And he was just letting, like, that's the other thing. Like, until she said it's Tommy's, he was just staying out of it. Like, he was just going to let Stevie try to, like, force himself onto Beulah. He's just standing. It's like, I'll just stand by and let this guy try to force himself on this girl I've impregnated. Once he got outed, he was like, "Oh shit, I better do something now, or I'm gonna look like a creep."
I just love the fact that he didn't go after Meanie. Now that we talked about that, that's hilarious. The fact that he would not insinuate that Beulah is so much of a whore that Meanie couldn't have fucked her.
And she's obviously a chubby chaser. She's with Tommy.
Yeah, but they're a couple in real life. I wonder what she's looking like nowadays. Because we all know what he's looking like. Well, actually, nobody knows because nobody can get Impact anyway. So he's probably the best. That's probably the best company for him to work for. A company that nobody sees.
Yeah,
he's got to be a. Well, dude, even on
Impact
today, that Bubba made a comment about. They were talking about mopeds, and he said me and Tommy ought to ride together on mopeds and then call us the McGuire twins. So, you ever seen that picture of the McGuire twins?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you know how big Tommy is. And Bubba, who's in shape now, if Bubba's saying it, then Tommy's fucking got to be fat and out of shape.
Out of shape, yeah. But yeah, that's it, folks. That's a little big moment in ECW history with the Beulah being pregnant with Tommy Dreamer's baby, and we know we're going to get a lot more story out of this over the weeks and months to come.
At least 9 months of it.
Up next was a match I expected to like, but actually wasn't. I didn't really like the match. Sandman versus Conan for the ECW title.
Yeah.
I didn't get into this match like I thought I might.
Well, first off, I had an old boy right next to it as soon as I saw him in the ring. And then I was not expecting anything out of this match at all. Like, I didn't expect anything out of this match, and I pretty much got what I expected out of it. I mean, it was stiff, but it was sloppy. There was no chemistry there whatsoever. Conan had no idea how to get over an ECW,
Like, it takes more. I mean, he bled like a son of a bitch, but it takes more than just busting yourself open to fucking get over with that crowd.
Yeah, it was a stiff, sloppy match is the way I wrote it down. It was, plus Sandman, this was probably getting late at night anyway. So he was probably 12
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You're right. He's probably 12 deep at this point anyway.
Yeah, and it had a lame finish. Because that was totally Conan not wanting to do the job. And he probably pulled the whole AAA card, too. Oh, I'm a big star in Mexico, brother. I can't be doing jobs, kind of deal. Because they did the fucking lame-ass 10-count finish. When did ECW ever do that?
Plus, he was on his way to WCW, too. So he probably didn't want a job and then go in there. And I think the fact that Woman's on her way out is getting known to the guys too, because they chant at Woman. I don't know if you guys chant it, but they keep chanting "Bischoff's gonna fuck you" to Woman.
Is that what they were chanting?
Yeah, I couldn't figure. I'm glad you heard it because I put down there's a chant here that I can't make out, so I couldn't.
I had to rewind it because I wanted to double check, but yeah, they're chanting at a Woman that Bischoff's gonna fuck you.
I heard the word "fuck," but I didn't hear Bischoff. So yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that's funny you caught that because I heard the chant. I just didn't know what the hell they were chanting either.
It's like I think she's out maybe 2 shows from here. I think. If I remember.
Woman?
Right. Yeah.
She's gone after what? 2 more shows or?
Yeah, because she's going to show up.
Two more arena shows, I think.
She's about to show up on Nitro with Flair.
Yeah, it was just to me it was a lame finish. That was Conan not wanting to put him over. Yeah, that stupid. They never did a finish like that as far as I know of ECW.
And the next match is I wrote down the next match I didn't like either because this match was way too fucking long. It shouldn't have been this long. It's Sabu versus Stevie Richards. Sabu should come to the ring, lay waste to Stevie Richards for 4 minutes and then pin him.
Yeah, I
Instead,
wrote that it should have been good.
instead, like Stevie Richards is
getting
presented
offense
as
on Sabu.
yes, he's presented as equal to Sabu in this match, and I did not like that at all.
I don't think he was presented as equal to the match, just because he got some offense, which I thought was kind of minor offense. I thought at the end of the day, Sabu wore him out. I mean, like by just diving on him repeatedly and and like slamming him all over the place. So I mean, at the end of the day, Stevie didn't get a whole lot of offense in when it came to like moves and stuff. But he had his comebacks with the punches and the kicks and some stuff. But like literally, Sabu would just cut him off. Like whenever Sabu was ready to cut him off, he just cut him off and went back to giving him another big move, And then it just kind of did that for a while,
I agree with Nate that this should have been a devastating tragedy for Stevie Richards. Like this should have just been like he comes out, Sabu comes out, Sabu stabs him, puts him through a table, Arabian face buster, and that's it. Like it should have just let Sabu hit his hits and get the fuck out because this thing went way too fucking long.
Yeah, and then you can present it as Stevie had a really bad night. He couldn't get any ass, and he got fucking laid out by Sabu.
Yeah, tough night at the office, poor Steve.
Yeah.
So we're getting ready to go home here, aren't we?
Yes. The one thing that I did write down that really annoyed me, and like I said, I was annoyed by how long the match was, but you tell me if you think I'm off base here, Chad. The one that really got me was I don't understand why. Okay, because one of Sabu's signatures is putting a motherfucker through a table. And I don't understand why when they were mapping this match out, they had Sabu put Stevie through a table and Stevie still came back. I just didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that, Sabu hits one of his signature spots on this fucking bozo and the bozo comes back. And I don't know. I just don't like, I didn't like the way it was laid out, I guess. Not that it was terrible.
Because they had plans for Stevie still.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're right in the hindsight.
But at this point, they're still treating him like a fucking goofball, though. Like they don't have the BWO and all that shit in their mind yet. He's just dancing stupid Stevie Richards,
the king of swing, though.
Yeah, it's like, and like I said, you guys are not fans of him, but I'm actually a fan of him. I like the goofball character and everything. But if there was ever a character that could have survived a fucking 2-minute fucking destruction of from Sabu and still been okay, it would have been fucking Stevie. You know what I mean?
Or it shouldn't have been Stevie, because Stevie shouldn't have survived it. But they still got 5 to 7 probably, with Stevie getting more offense. So I mean, like you said, hindsight, we would have thought that Sabu would have just killed him, but as we see later on, Stevie plays a bigger role with the company. So
yeah, and Sabu does
make sense at the end.
Sabu does finally win the match with a face buster. Then we move on to our main event, which I don't have a lot of notes on because it's so hard to take. I've always said it's hard to take notes on a match like this, but it's the swan song in ECW for the Public Enemy. Sayonara. It's Public Enemy versus the Gangstas. Yeah. And
the only note I got, and this would be more of a question for Chad, was did these guys get along like in the back? Like were they just kind of indifferent to each other, or like the
I never saw them talk. I never saw them in the same place together. Like, so I would have absolutely no idea. Because I know where they would have been at in the locker room. They would have been upstairs. They wouldn't have been down with us. They would have been somewhere else. But, they would have had to have come down at some point to go, to get ready to go to Gorilla. So they would have had to have been out, somewhere together. But I never saw them. I mean, then again, what are you going to put together?
Yeah.
It was a typical brawl. I mean, and it wasn't even a good brawl. It was how bad Public Enemy is per se, especially when you're basically, being, you're leaving. So everybody assumes they're going to do the job. And the way the gangsters just manhandled them, carried them all around the building, you know what I mean? Beat them all up over the place. everybody thought they were going to fucking lose. I even thought they were going to lose, honestly. I just figured that's the way the business goes.
I don't know why they didn't lose. That's actually in my notes. I'm like,
probably because everybody assumed that they were going to lose.
Yeah, just to do a swerve, I guess. Yeah, I guess
you're right.
But yeah, it's just...
I think honestly too, I think Paul and Todd probably thought they were going to be back. Like, I don't think they thought they were going to last in WCW very long. Or probably going.
Yeah, Paul probably could have had an inside track on that, how that was going to go to begin with. You know, he probably knew that once they get them, they're going to see that they can't work. You know, and all they are is a one-trick pony.
And then they went to WCW and became the fucking Bushwhackers.
Basically.
Not knocking the Bushwhackers, but you know what I mean. And like, by the time they made it back to ECW, it's like they did their shit in reverse. Like, you used to leave the blood and guts places and get to the big time and not want to do that shit anymore. They went to the big time, then came back to the blood and guts thing, and we're like, we're not going to do that.
Right. Yeah, they did it totally in reverse. Like I said, to me, I wrote that it was the public enemy won over, and it was weird, probably because everybody knew they were leaving. So, you know, everybody knew that basically if you're leaving, you're going to do your job on the way out. So they were like, it ain't going to hurt the gangsters, you know. Mm-hmm. Plus, what's the pin? You know, after they see all this, you know, brawling all over the building and breaking everything, at the end of the day, a 3 count doesn't even matter. You know what I'm saying? It could have been anybody could have got pinned, and it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, because normally in one of these type matches, somebody gets pinned, and then the match still goes another 10 minutes with them cracking each other with toasters and shit. So
yeah,
you know,
the pin really what didn't matter.
But yeah, that was it. That was the show. That was House Party 96, and I got to say, this is the first time I've given a show that we've watched in the high, more than a B-. I gave this show a B+. And the only reason I didn't give it in the A area, to be honest with you, was I was not Sandman and Conan, and then Richards and Sabu. As much as I like some of the participants, those 2 matches just they weren't good. I didn't like them.
Yeah, they could have done without some of that stuff.
I just think it's funny. You're like, I didn't want to give this show. I didn't want to give this show into its A area. It's like, whoa.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even close for me.
Aaron, what did you give it?
I am stepping into the B- area though. I bet you this show was a lot better live than it was on TV. You know, it had to have been. To keep them people there as long as they kept them there that night, you know, for that, to me, it was a shitty payoff. You know, Public Enemy asking all the guys to come back from the locker room to have one last dance. Scream gay. What do you want to? What? Did anybody come out?
Because Bob Ortiz.
It's Bob Ortiz and Bad Crew.
And Rocky Ortiz. Yeah, and then they went to the traditional Public Enemy video with the bad generic music, and you know, just showed all their highlights and all, and you know, basically, yeah. To me, it was a B-, C+ to me was, you know, that would be the best I could give it, which isn't bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it had to have been better live. I'm just saying, because, you know, you could tell how they had to edit it down to almost 3 hours just for Peacock.
Right.
You know, it was still 2 hours and over 2.5 hours. So it had to have been a 5-hour show that they just cut down all the intro and a lot of the intros and all that stuff for editing. So, dude, that crowd had to been worn out, man. What a long show.
We've been here for 5 hours and Rocco Rock wants us to dance with him.
Dance with him? What? Why don't we all just go hang out in Jimmy Del Rey's van?
Slow ride.
Why do I want to hang out with you, Rocco? There's a party going on out in the parking lot.
Aaron, what did you grade this show?
I'd say right around how you guys are saying, like a high C or a low B. It was just, there was good stuff on it, and then there was shit that I just thought was kind of lame or whatever. Like Shane's entrance was stupid. Well, I should say stupid, but it's just anticlimactic. The Conan Sandman match was fucking train wreck. It's just the good was really good and the bad was really bad. If that makes
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yep.
Well, that
What
being
about
said,
you? What'd you give it, Nate?
oh me, B plus.
All right, so we got a B plus. What I say, B minus?
You said B minus, C plus.
Yeah, and then Aaron, same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So we're all pretty much in agreement on this.
But it's like we said before, we got into the year 1996, and now that we're into the year 1996, we're going to see a lot less bad and a lot more good as we go through the next year of ECW.
A lot more bad crew or a lot less bad crew?
A lot less bad crew and a lot more good stuff. Probably the worst stuff. Probably the
bad crew as long as they're running spot shows in Pennsylvania. I can tell you
probably the worst stuff coming up in watching 96 is going to be how many times we have to put up with emo Tommy Dreamer.
Oh yeah, pretty much.
That the overacting, bad drama class acting Tommy Dreamer.
Put upon Tommy.
Yes.
Don't make me laugh, dude. My ribs hurt.
Well, that being said, we're going to sign off. I want to thank Aaron and Chad for joining me this evening for Reliving the Extreme. Do check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/Reliving the Extreme. And I am actually working as we speak. I'm doing like the past 4 or 5 episodes first, but I am working on getting the audio of these episodes, and then eventually I'll go back and do all of them. Anyway, long story short, I'm also working on getting us on YouTube, our shows up on YouTube as well. So, because we don't have a presence on YouTube, and I think that's going to be a good thing too for those of you that would rather listen to the show on YouTube. Stay on the lookout for that. Aaron, Chad, thank you for joining me.
Yep, no problem, guys.
And we'll see everybody next week on Reliving the Extreme. Have a great week, everybody.